mixing up a batch of cement here for setting the baseline, and I go 4-to-1, 4 parts sand to 1 part cement, add water, and mix like a dry, zero slump kind of a formula. You don't want your cement too wet because it will be too sloppy and messy on the rocks and it won't hold the rocks in place. So basically you just blend it together like this. And then we get just the right amount of water. That's a tricky thing too. You don't want to have too much water in there. I have an idea for water, so that's should be pretty close. I don't want to give away all my secrets because no one will call the rock man. They'll be able to do it themselves. But that's okay too. That's why I'm showing you what to do so that if you want to do it, you can do it. Now that's a bit dry, so I don't want to put too much water in, so I use my sponge and give it just a little bit that way. And then we're going to take it into the backyard and put it between the rocks and establish our base course. Between each joint so that I can join them all together. It's important to have the base course all cemented really well because that's the strength that you need to build on top of it. Beaver-tailed thing, and I cut it so that it is good for pointing. Want to know about drainage? The question about drainage is a good one because it's very important when it rains that the water behind the wall has a place to go. Naturally, the water is going to find its own corridor in the ground behind, but when you're doing construction, that fresh disturbance is going to cause issues, so you have to put 3/4 clear crush in behind the rocks, and then when you build your wall, the water will hit the clear crush and make its way out. We call it a French drain. A clean surface when you're going to do your second course so that your next row of rocks bond very well to the next layer. And that's why we clean it up as we go along. Somebody has to work around here. It might as well be me. Yeah. So we get the big rocks in, and we can't forget the little rocks. They have a place as well. So we can put small rocks in here between. got another big one coming up. I already have it ready to go. Lifting big rocks is not for the faint of heart. Look at that. That's just like it had eyes and it knew where it was going. Yeah. And we've got the line as a guide. We look down from above the line and we can see how to get them in. We make sure we have lots of cement, lots of mortar around each stone. We pack them in because tomorrow we'll be putting another course on top of these ones that we're setting now. I don't worry about spilling because I can always scoop it up, put it in behind, and it adds strength. Of course, it's not clean, but it does the job. Always keep it clean as you go along. Otherwise, you end up with a messy site. Keep in mind, when you're building, things to keep in mind are when you're building your rock wall and you're on your second course, make sure when you're putting your stones in that you stagger the joints. You don't want to have one rock on top of another. You want to have your rocks have a joint and then put a rock on top like so, and it covers that joint just like that. This is an example, and that way you end up with a nice staggered look all the way through, and it adds to the strength as well. So as you can see, we're building a retaining wall here to replace a wooden wall that was in its day looking pretty good, but over time it just rots out. And so people phone the rock man and we build stone walls to replace the old rotten wooden walls. And we can use nice decorative rock. This rock here is from a rock quarry in Agassiz. Armstrong Sand and Gravel provided me with these rocks, and they have been most helpful in giving me access to get the stones that I need for building my rock walls. And these rocks are not salt and pepper granite. These are a different type of rock. They're like a basalt, and they also weather and oxidize and form nice colors. And so that's the choice for this wall here, because it gives us the kind of earth color that the customer is seeking. So today we are trying to get the second course in so that we can near the completion. And so basically we get the rocks ready, and then the following day we come in and remove the rocks, put the cement in, and set the stone. Like example here is this rock here. I know it will work there, so I'll remove it, and I'll remove that one, and then I'll put the cement in. And get ready to set them. Sitting in there pretty good. And what do we got here? Okay. I have to do right now, I need to point these joints here. I've set all the stones, but I have to take my little pointer that I made. I've got a couple of different types that I've modified so that I can do good pointing. So I've got this one, and then when it gets a little bit tight, I've got this narrow one here. I go in like that. So I keep one in each hand. I like this one because you can really cover a lot of space, and it really finishes the joints. And also it adds strength. It adds strength as well. The more you press it in, the stronger it is. And you have to do this before it dries up. Otherwise, it becomes dry and powdery, and you don't get a very nice effect. So it's a timely thing. You got to get it just the right time. And then after I do this, I will go along with a small brush like that, and you won't even know that I tooled it. It'll look natural like that, right? That's what we want to do. And I have to remind you, always wear gloves. Don't do as I do, do as I say. And you will stay in good shape. Don't worry about me. I've learned how to put up with it over the years. Nothing phases me. But the newcomer has to wear his gloves. Take care of yourself. When you're working, always take care of yourself. Work smart. You can see what I'm doing. Just pressing them in like that. That's all you have to do. And if you don't do it, it'll just dry up and and it'll all fall out. So what I do is I'll set about 10 stones, and then I go back and I do the finishing. And then I'm finishing as I go. And then if it rains, say for instance it starts to rain, well, I've already got my pointing done. So I can cover it up with the plastic. There's always plastic handy, especially on a cloudy day like today. Today was a bit iffy. I wasn't sure what it was going to do, but I've been very lucky all through the day. There is no rain going on, and yet it looks like it. So that's why we have the plastic ready. Today's been a good day. I've got, maybe 30 square feet, 40 square feet. On the average, a stonemason does about 30 square feet a day on an average day. That's what I have noticed. Sometimes I can do 40 and 50, depending on the circumstances. But you don't want to hurry and get a lot done and do a lousy job. You always want to make sure you do a good job. So it doesn't matter how much you do, it's how well you do it. That's the most important. Because you have to look at it. You have to live with it.